Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new 2017 Ridgeline, our newest vehicle and their newest fan, Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
A warm evening here in New York, the opening game of a 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the New York Yankees here in the Bronx tonight, tomorrow night, then a day game on Wednesday. The Blue Jays 16 games over 500, their high water mark on the season, and trying to hold off the Orioles and the Red Sox, who, by the way, have already won today. The Red Sox have in the American League East. Let's check out the Blue Jays starting lineup tonight's game. Josh Donaldson having another terrific year, doing great on the road, among league leaders overall and on base percentage and slugging percentage. And Troy Tulowitzki starting to swing the bat, has been for several weeks really, like the Tulo from Colorado. Ever since he's come off the DL in the middle of June, he is hitting for average and hitting for power.
Well, the Blue Jays are going to face a pitcher for the first time, Chad Green. He has pitched in 8 games this season. He is back and forth between AAA and the big league 6 times. And one thing about it is he throws hard. He's a former Tiger draft pick, and the Yankees picked him up in a trade in December. He and Luis Cessa came here to the Yankees for the hard-throwing left-hander Justin Wilson. So Blue Jays haven't seen him before. That's always been a challenge for them.
Defensively behind Green tonight in the outfield, Aaron Hicks is in left, Jacoby Ellsbury in center, and Aaron Judge, the young man who's already hit a couple of home runs, the rookie, is in right field. Headley, Gregorius, Castro, and Mark Teixeira, who's not playing all the time because of a chronically bad knee. He'll retire at the end of the season. Gary Sanchez, another one of the young players, newcomers, getting a lot of playing time with the Yankees behind the plate.
24-year-old Aaron Judge making his 3rd start in right field. I asked Joe Girardi, is this your right fielder of the future? He said, absolutely. He's a terrific athlete. And he laid out on the warning track trying to run down a fly ball here over the weekend. They really like him both as a defender and a power hitter.
Underway here in the Bronx, Devin Travis will lead it off for the Blue Jays again, and what a season he is having, hitting over 300 overall, hitting over 350 in his last 27 games. He's not going to take a lot of walks, but he is swinging the bat with authority up in that leadoff spot right now. He'll be followed by Donaldson and Encarnacion. Green's 0-2 on the way, and the breaking ball misses inside. By and large, we are told Green is a fastball slider kind of pitcher. He's made 4 relief appearances and 4 starts for the Yankees. The relief appearances have gone much better than the starts have, with the exception of one good start he had against San Diego. Fastball low, 2-2.
He pitched as a starter down in AAA's Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and he was an International League All-Star. He made 15 starts for Scranton. He actually started against Buffalo on the 3rd of May in Buffalo, and picked up his first win of the season against the Bisons. In that game, Junior Lake was playing in that game, so he's got a little information he can pass along to his teammates about what they might see from Chad Green.
It's kind of strange to see so many young players, so many players just starting out with the New York Yankees. As Travis laces one down the left field line, but it's foul. The Yankees making so many trades, in effect, without announcing that they're doing this, in effect said we're going into rebuilding mode. The funny part was, before play yesterday, they were just 3.5 out of a playoff spot. They're 4.5 out of a playoff spot now. But Joe Girardi's not used to looking around and seeing all kinds of 22 and 23-year-olds on his team. Travis with a bouncer to third, routine for Headley.
Yeah, it's been a long time since there have been so many young players in the Yankees lineup. They've not had a lineup this young for quite a while, since 1971. They haven't had this many youngsters in their lineup, and they haven't had this young of an average age of their position players since 71. But when you have a 24-year-old in right, a 23-year-old behind the plate, and they have Tyler Austin, who homered in his first plate appearance at 24, the future appears to be pretty bright for the Yankees.
Josh Donaldson will take a slider over the outside corner for a strike. Donaldson hitting .292, 28 home runs, 79 RBIs on the season. He's also walked 75 times. That's why you see that on base percentage just a tick over 400 on the season. The Blue Jays have played the Yankees well, Buck, as you well know. They've beaten them 5 times in a row. They're 7-2 against them overall. And this ballpark used to be a house of horrors for the Blue Jays, but that's turned around recently.
Yeah, they went through a stretch where they won just 2 of 28 games here at Yankee Stadium. But you're right, they have won 4 series in a row lately here in New York. And Dan, there was a point where John Gibbons said, you know, fellas, we're not going to hit today. We're not going to take infield. We're not doing anything. Just put on your unis and let's go get them. And that actually turned the team around a bit. But they have had a long drought here, but they have turned it around lately. They're 13-6 in their last 19 games here at Yankee Stadium. And you mentioned 7-2. It's the team that they have really owned in the AL East.
If they can win this series, it'll be 5 straight series that they will have won in the Bronx. No team has won 5 series in a row here at Yankee Stadium since the Indians did it in the late 1960s. Blue Jays have won 4 straight series here. 2-2 just off the outside edge of full count.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It has been that long since anybody came in here and won 5 straight series.
Encarnacion waiting on deck. Full count pitch on the way to Donaldson. Oh, as advertised so far.
It's always interesting when you see the Blue Jays facing a pitcher they don't know. They always kind of go up there and try to get as much information as they can. They've got veteran hitters in their lineup, so they like to have at bats. They like to have some history with a pitcher, and when you face a guy for the first time, you got to do your own scouting.
Here comes the 7th pitch of this at bat, and it's strike 3 called, and Donaldson doesn't argue.
Well, let's take a look at the scouting report for Chad Green. He's 25 years old, and to give you an idea what he throws, his fastball will average 92. He throws sliders, as Dan mentioned, fastball slider combination. He'll cut the ball just over 90 miles an hour, and he throws very few changeups, but when he does, it's about 10 miles an hour slower than his fastball.
He's retired the first 2 batters tonight. Here's Edwin Encarnacion, second in the majors in home runs behind only Mark Trumbo, 1 back of him, and first in the majors in RBIs as he takes a fastball at the knees for a strike. Seems like a long time ago when Encarnacion at the end of April had only 3 homers, and he's had some big Mays in the past. He's had a big June and a big July and a pretty big August so far here this season, putting up a terrific year.
He has really been consistent, and there were so many people early on said, oh, what's wrong with Edwin? Well, when the leaves turn brown, as they say, with good hitters, his numbers will be there. Perfect timing, of course. This is his walk year. He'll be a free agent after this year, and he's having a banner season.
You're just going to give Blue Jay fans an upset stomach by saying something like that, but it's
okay.
It's been a conversation all season long. Gregorius looks it over, throws him out, and the Blue Jays go in order in the top of the first. Knuckleballer R.A. Dickey to the mound for the Blue Jays when we come back to the Bronx. For Joe Girardi, there's no denying that with all the things that have gone on around the New York Yankees, the trades, Alex Rodriguez in effect being released a couple of days ago. has not gone as they had hoped. Let's check out the lineup tonight. Some of the veterans are in there, but again, we're focusing on some of the young guys. The future's coming sooner than you think for the New York Yankees, and behind the plate that may revolve around Gary Sanchez, who hit well at AAA and has really impressed people so far in his short time in the major leagues. And Aaron Judge, 6'7", 275, and 2 home runs over the weekend for the Yankees.
41-year-old R.A. Dickey will make his 9th career start here at Yankee Stadium. His 16th start against the Yankees overall, and R.A. is 8-12. His ERA at .461. Once again, racking up the innings, and you can see there's no advantage. Lefties or righties, they're both hitting just over .250 against R.A. And he has been tough on New York. He has held the Yankees to an opponent's batting average of .214. That's the second lowest since 1969.
First pitch swinging, and Jacoby Ellsbury lines one into the alley in right center. Playing it off the wall is Upton. It'll be a leadoff double for Ellsbury.
You know, Dan, some of these teams now are starting to look for that first pitch fastball as Dickey's trying to get ahead with a fastball. I think that may have been a fastball right here. And he jumps right on it. Little sinker out over the plate, ran back to the barrel of the bat, and Ellsbury didn't waste any time as he jumps on it for his 18th double of the season.
So a runner in scoring position right off the bat. One pitch into Dickey's outing. And here's third baseman Chase Headley. Like many switch hitters, he opts to hit from the right side against the knuckleball. A lot of hitters, Buck, kind of revert to their more natural side, their original side. Or for whatever reason they do it, and Headley is one of those, hitting from the right side against Dickey.
Yeah, I've talked to Chase about this. He says, I don't know why. It just seems like from time to time I get a little more comfortable hitting from my natural side, the right side. And there is no formula. There's no particular approach that works consistently against a knuckleball pitcher. You just have to go with what feels best.
Mark Teixeira, who's a couple of batters away, another switch hitter, has bounced back and forth in his career from side to side against Dickey, depending on what feels right.
Teixeira will do it between at-bats. He will switch from at-bat to at-bat. He'll have one good at-bat and then a bad one, and he'll switch to the other side.
Teixeira has announced that he will retire at the end of the season, so that'll be another familiar face, and he probably wouldn't have been back with the Yankees anyways. His contract was up, but when you think of all of the players who have left, Alex Rodriguez probably the most notable, but Carlos Beltran is gone. They traded Miller and Chapman. Teixeira will retire at the end of the year. The changing of the guard is underway in the Bronx. 2-1 Headley. Misses inside.
Teixeira signed an 8-year contract with the Yankees in January of 2009, and of course the Yankees would win a World Series that year, but they haven't won since, and that was a big goal of the New Yorkers when they wanted to bring Teixeira in. World Series championships.
On 3-1, Dickey opts for the fastball, and he's in there with a strike. The count now full. Didi Gregorius waiting on deck. And with no Beltran and some of the others. But a lot of shuffling and juggling in the Yankee lineup. Again, they're only 4.5, actually 5 out of a playoff spot with the Boston win earlier today. And now Dickey will walk Headley, so first and second, nobody out. Dickey checking with his middle infielders. The defense behind him. Darryl Siciliani gets another start in left. Melvin Upton Jr. in center, but Michael Saunders in right, as he has been the last several games. On the infield, Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Travis, and Smoke. And of course, Josh Thole is catching with Dickey on the mound.
Yeah, I think Josh Thole has the toughest job of all. He's a catcher that catches once a week, and then he's got to catch a knuckleballer. He has been charged with 16 pass balls this season. It's a tough assignment catching that knuckleball.
Now Dickey working himself into a jam here. A double for Ellsbury. He walks Headley, and now he's fallen behind onto Gregorius. He went around, says home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt. The count is now 1-1. Gregorius with a career high 15 homers. There's no question he is a part of the future for the Yankees. Came into last year and struggled at the outset, but has had a terrific season this year, hitting .288, driven in 52 runs.
This is just the second time he's hit third in the Yankee lineup. He's got a 5-game hit streak. He's one of the hot hitters for New York right now, so they put him in the third spot. He and his double play partner, Starlin Castro, are both 26. So Joe Girardi doesn't have to worry about the middle of the infield for a while. They're both very good players.
Fouled back. The count remains 1-2. Blue Jays opening up a road trip with 3 games here. Got a day off Thursday and then 3 games in Cleveland against the Indians. The Indians, the leaders in the American League Central. They were the team the Red Sox beat today. Boston won by a score of 3-2. Drew Pomeranz got the win for the Red Sox. Gregorius chases a ball in the dirt, and that's the first out of the night.
Well, it takes a while for R.A. Dickey to really get zeroed in with his knuckleball, but this is a good one. You can see it starts up about knee high and then just disappears, and Gregorius with 2 strikes couldn't lay off.
So now with runners at first and second and 1 out, it'll be Mark Teixeira. Teixeira will bat from the left side against Dickey. Told me a couple of months ago when he was facing Dickey, when he faced Tim Wakefield at Fenway, he said, well, I don't know if I'm going to hit this guy or how, but that green monster's pretty close, so I'll bat right-handed against him at Fenway. But the short porch here is down the right field line, so maybe that's why he's batting left-handed here tonight. When in doubt, just bat the way that gives you a chance to pull it over the short porch.
Yeah, and when he plays at Rogers Center, it doesn't make any difference because it's symmetrical, so he'll just make up his mind according to how he feels on a given day.
You know, in the last just really week and a half, maybe a little bit more than that, we found out Teixeira's being forced to retire. A-Rod has been released and may retire, who knows. Prince Fielder's career has come to an end prematurely. Those are 3 pretty significant players from the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, they have been terrific players throughout their career. And of course, Fielder very abruptly announced his retirement after having a second neck surgery. Dickey's in a jam here in the first, just like he was in his last start against Tampa Bay last Monday. But he was able to get out of that inning. He gave up a infield base hit to Forsythe. He walked Longoria with 1 out, then struck out Miller, but walked Mikey Matuk. And he stranded a pair. It was a long inning for him, but he kept the Rays off the scoreboard.
Well, Teixeira's lack of speed, his knee trouble, anything on the ground. Pretty much you'd think the Blue Jays would be able to turn a double play and get out of the inning. Yankees coming into play tonight 60 and 57. They are 6.5 back of the Blue Jays in the American League East. Again, the 2-2 off the glove of Tolle, and it was fouled off. Teixeira grazed it with his bat, so the runners head back.
Mark Teixeira began his career with the Texas Rangers in 2003. He had a great rookie season, 26 home runs for Texas.
Broken bat, pop up, infield fly rule in effect. Travis will make the catch. 2 down now after Teixeira's retired. So Dickey having to throw a lot of pitches, but he's trying to navigate his way through this after the double and the walk began his night.
Yeah, there is no question that managing a knuckleball pitcher is the most challenging task for a manager, because you never know when it's going to come in or go out. You don't know when he's going to find that strike zone. There's no indication that he's losing velocity. I mean, it's just from pitch to pitch. You don't know what you're going to get.
Russell Martin getting the night off, having a conversation with John Gibbons in the Blue Jays dugout. Here's Starlin Castro, the second baseman, hitting .260, 14 home runs, 53 runs driven in on the season. And Dickey misses again, ball 2. So he's up to 22 pitches on the night right now as he tries to get out of this jam here in the first inning. Fielders slightly playing him to pull. Travis shaded up the middle. Tulowitzki a bit in the hole at short. Outfielders, even with a knuckleballer, you can see Upton's over towards right center field. Castro just had an "I'm going to hit one 9 miles" kind of cut against Dickey, which may not be the way to attack the knuckleball, and he came up empty.
Joe Girardi was telling me before the game how Castro's come up with so many big hits. He said he'll hit pitches that other people won't even swing at, kind of like Vladdy Guerrero, but he comes up with big hits because he's aggressive all the time. And he'll get some ugly swings from time to time, like that last one, but Girardi has really been impressed with his ability to get big hits in clutch situations.
You can almost read hitters' minds when they face the knuckleball. So, I mean, sometimes they'll hit it, obviously. But when it's going like this, the hitter's shaking his head saying, man, is it tomorrow yet? Some of them just don't like it. And Castro may be one of those guys. Tosses the bat away in disgust. And Dickey, after allowing the first 2 men to reach, gets out of it unscathed here in the first.
The catch, he went into the cage, took some hits off of a tee. I talked to him today. I said, how you feeling? He says he's feeling much better right now. He's hoping to take batting practice later this next week, and if everything goes well, when he's eligible to be activated off the DL on the 22nd, he plans to play. He wants to go do a rehab assignment, hopefully by the end of the weekend. Guys, I asked him, if you were not on the DL right now, could you play through this? He says absolutely, but he also completely understands that this team has got to be careful and they have to watch out for his well-being and long-term health. And I think as he's getting a little bit older, he understands that sometimes you have to suck one up and take as long as it takes to get back healthy again. Send it back to you, Dan.
In the meantime, he's providing a comforting shoulder for Marcus Stroman in the dugout right now. Well, that is great news if it comes to pass, if Pilar will indeed be able to come back when he's eligible a week from tomorrow. They're obviously very short-handed right now in the outfield. Bautista on the DL, Pilar on the DL. Ezekiel Carrera, let's not forget about him. He's on the DL as well and could be back tomorrow night. He's playing a game with Buffalo tonight, and if all goes well, if nothing goes awry, there's a chance that Carrera could be back and active with the Blue Jays tomorrow night here in the Bronx.
Yeah, and he has done a very good job filling in for John Gibbons, whether it's in left field or right field or from time to time in center field. And Carrera's an important part of this team, and they need him back.
Michael Saunders leads off the second. Saunders has been playing right field the last several days with Bautista back on the DL. When Darwin Barney was out in the outfield, he played left. Siciliani is playing left, so Saunders has moved over to right field. 268, 20 home runs on the season. Chases the slider down low, and the count is 1-2.
The Yankees, like so many teams who employ the shift, now has moved their third baseman over to the second base side of the field, and Gregorius, the shortstop, stays put at short.
And a swing and a miss on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Saunders strikes out.
Well, we mentioned that Chad Green is 25 years old. He's making his 5th start, and he's got a very good fastball. And this one, top of the strike zone, 95, and Saunders is late on that second strikeout. He got Donaldson with a slider. Now he gets Saunders with a high heater.
So one down in the second, no score here at Yankee Stadium. The batter is Troy Tulowitzki. As we mentioned when we showed you the Blue Jay lineup, Tulowitzki has been swinging the bat extremely well. The average up to 248, but more than the average, it's the production. 20 home runs, 61 RBIs on the season. Tulowitzki now has hit 20 or more home runs 7 times in his career, one of only 5 shortstops in history to do that. And there's still better than a month left in the season. Remember, he was on the DL for a while. He's got a chance to have some really decent numbers, better than decent numbers by the end of the year.
He sure has, and everything has come together for him lately. And since he's come off the disabled list, he has cleaned up a lot of things at the plate mechanically, and that has allowed him to really utilize a more aggressive approach. But early on, he was just out of sync with a lot of mechanical aspects of his swing. You mentioned the 5 shortstops that have had 7 or more seasons with 20 or more home runs. That list is headed by Cal Ripken Jr., who did it 12 times. Then Alex Rodriguez and Miguel Tejada did it 8 times. And Troy Tulowitzki's tied with that great Cub shortstop Ernie Banks.
Another fastball, and Tulowitzki strikes out.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations, proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Well, the Blue Jays not having any luck so far against Chad Green. 5 batters have come to the plate, 3 have struck out, the other 2 have grounded out. And here is Daryl Siciliani getting the start in left field, 2 for 16 since coming up to the Blue Jays. Had a terrific spring, a great spring. Almost made the ball club, but he had options. Ezekiel Carrera did. Carrera got the 4th outfielder spot. Siciliani hit 268 at AAA this year. And again, who knows, if Carrera's back tomorrow, Siciliani could be on his way back down to Buffalo.
Now the Blue Jays have a lot of veteran hitters, and you can see Donaldson is talking to Smoke out on the on-deck circle about what he might expect from Chad Green, but he'll have to wait till the next inning.
Green just struck out the side. No score. Going to the bottom of the 2nd here in the Bronx.
That time of the night where we reward you simply for watching tonight's broadcast. And here is your entry code. It is MBJ4765. That entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. You have till 11:50 night to enter that code, and we will have a new one for you tomorrow. These folks are already logging in their codes, Dan.
All right, Barry, thank you. No surprise. You see a lot of Blue Jays jerseys here in New York. I can only imagine, Buck, what it might be like in Cleveland later on in the week. I mean, in good times, Blue Jays fans head across the border to Cleveland in droves, and although the Indians are a great team, a first-place team, they're still not drawing very well. It wouldn't be shocking to see as many Blue Jays fans as Indians fans in Cleveland over the weekend.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case anytime the Blue Jays are in a quote-unquote border town, and we'll see it in Detroit, we'll see it in Cleveland, of course, Seattle. And here in New York, there are Blue Jay fans everywhere.
Brian McCann, who's DHing tonight, leads off the second inning. Gary Sanchez, who's on deck, is behind the plate. McCann, one of the veterans who did not get traded prior to the deadline, July 31st. Has taken good advantage of the short porch here at Yankee Stadium. He's hit 42 of his 64 home runs as a Yankee here at Yankee Stadium. Just .314 down the right field line. And he is a dead pull hitter.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting with Gary Sanchez now playing the catcher's position. What the future might hold for Brian McCann. Do they see him as a full-time DH, play him a little bit at first? But Sanchez, just 23 years old. Yeah, he's got some power. He's got a tremendous arm.
Do you think it's possible that in the offseason a McCann or a Gardner or maybe even an Ellsbury, that those guys could be traded in the wintertime?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I sure do. I think they have a lot of options. And, you know, Brian McCann, he's played 12 seasons now. He spent his first 9 years with the Atlanta Braves. But Brian has caught a lot. He's now 32 years old. He'll turn 33 next February. But they've got some guys now that they're still good players like Gardner and Ellsbury and McCann. But they might be more valuable to the Yankees as trade pieces.
Tolley went out to the mound. That foul ball got a piece of the home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt. Tolley went out to the mound to buy Wendelstedt some time, and McCann's checking with Wendelstedt to make sure he's okay. And now finally the Yankee trainer has come out. That one hit right off the mask of Wendelstedt, and they want to make sure that he's all right before they continue.
Yeah, Steve Donahue, the Yankee trainer, is checking him for those concussion protocol, and now the other 3 umpires are coming in to make sure Hunter Wendelstedt is okay. But yeah, he got rocked pretty squarely in the face mask on that foul tip. The crew chief with his back to us is Jerry Lane. He's at first base, and he's in to check on the status of Hunter Wendelstedt. Of course, Hunter's been doing this umping a long time. In fact, he said the biggest joy he's ever received umpiring is umpiring with his dad a few games in August of 1998. They were both in the big leagues at that time. His father, the late Harry Wendelstedt, a long-time National League umpire. This is something that has really been an improvement for players and for umpires, of course, is the ability to evaluate whether or not a player and umpire has suffered a concussion. But thumbs up from Hunter Wendelstedt. He's ready to go.
You used to just say something like, oh, he got his bell rung, and then the game would go on.
Yeah.
And now obviously it's taken much more seriously, and rightfully so. And now Dickey's asked if he can throw a couple of warm-up pitches because of the delay.
I have actually been knocked unconscious in a game in a collision at home plate and stayed in the game.
Wow.
And fortunately now the players are really monitored. They have a baseline test every spring, and then they're always compared to that should they be hit in the head.
So Wendelstedt okay and ready to resume with the count 2-2 on Brian McCann. Fouled off again. Dickey, 41 years of age, comes in 8-12 with a .461 ERA. He got into a really good groove before the All-Star break. Had 3 really good starts heading into the break. He's made 5 starts out of the break since the break, Buck. One of them was very good, but 4 of the 5 have not been the same guy that we saw in early July.
Last time out, less than 5 innings for just the 3rd time this season. And here he walks the leadoff man into second.
Second walk given up. That's been one of the problems. The walks per 9 innings have been up recently for Dickey. And it seems that on a number of occasions, a walk or a hit batter has been followed by a home run.
Yeah, and that home run ball is always just a pitch away as that knuckleball. If it is squared up, it'll go a long way.
Here's Gary Sanchez, the young catcher, hitting Sanchez hit a home run in yesterday's game, a loss for the Yankees to Tampa Bay. Big swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. He is in his second stint with the Yankees, was up for just a couple of days in May, was sent back down, then recalled early this month, and has been with the Yankees now for the last couple of weeks. At AAA, Scranton Wilkes-Barre this year hit .282 with 21 doubles and 10 home runs. Had a little bit of time with the Yankees as a September call-up last year. Takes a strike, and it's 0-2.
Joe Girardi was a little concerned about the young hitters facing a knuckleballer for the first time. Sanchez is one of those hitters. In fact, he kept Tyler Austin out of the lineup tonight because of that. He didn't want him to face the knuckleballer.
Base hit up the middle for Sanchez. McCann up to second on the play. Let's get you a little bit more familiar with some guys you're probably going to hear a lot about in the coming years. No guarantee that any of them will pan out as the Yankees hope, of course, but Gary Sanchez, very high hopes for him. Aaron Judge, big guy, big time power. Tyler Austin, probably not as big a prospect as the other two, and we shouldn't forget that Greg Bird, who did such a nice job last year, has been out all season with a shoulder injury, and Bird may have the inside track as the first baseman for the Yankees in 2017.
Yeah, Tyler Austin was actually taken off the 40-man roster a couple of years ago, as he had some struggles in the minor leagues. But this year at AAA, he was wearing it out. A .323 average, 13 homers, 49 RBIs, and 24 doubles.
And the first home run he hit here a couple of days ago measured at 447 feet. This is the kind of guy at spring training in Tampa, when he's taking BP, even though he was a minor league player at the time, the big leaguers stop and watch, because when he gets into it, it winds up out there. He hit one up above the batter's eye in center field.
Well, the Yankees did a good thing with Judge in my mind. They sent him back for a second season in AAA. His first season in 2015, he started at AA, went up to AAA, ended up with 20 home runs and 72 RBIs for the season. But when he went back to AAA this year, he hit .270, hit about 50 points higher in his second go-around in AAA. Had a chance to say hi to Judge today, and he's a big kid, 24 years old. He's from the Central Valley of California, a small town just northeast of Stockton, California, a town of just about 1,500 people.
That's Sprague country, right? Stockton.
Yep.
Down the right field line, but a foul. Judge is just the second Yankee to homer in each of his first two major league games, joining Joe LaFay, who did it in 1980. Trevor Story of the Rockies did it earlier this season. I think Story's the only player ever to do it in the first three games. He homered in the first three games in which he played in his big league career. Judge can match him if he can get a hold of one here tonight, but he won't right here as Dickey strikes him out.
3 strikeouts now for Dickey. They got Gregorius Castro in the first, and now he gets Judge for the first out of the second. And you can see when that ball doesn't tumble a lot, that's when it's most effective, and he strikes out Judge with that high knuckler.
He's had to work hard, though. 4 base runners through an inning and a third, 43 pitches through an inning and a third. And here's the number 9 hitter for the Yankees, left fielder Aaron Hicks. Lifts a fly ball to left field. Siciliani is there, and it makes the grab for the second out. Hicks a switch hitter as well, so he opts to hit from the left side, as did Teixeira, heavily hitting from the right side. And back to the top of the order now for Ellsbury, who got it started against Dickey with a double in the first inning.
Dickey tried to get ahead of him with a first pitch fastball, and Ellsbury was set for that first pitch and drilled it to the alley in right center.
Got to be strange for some of these veteran guys to see so many other veterans get traded in what's been a disappointing season in the eyes of many. Although again, they're still just 4.5 out of a playoff spot, even with a loss yesterday, or now 5 with the Boston win earlier today. You know, when you're a veteran player and you see other veterans one by one getting traded, moving on, so many young guys coming in, you have to wonder about your own future with this team.
Who's next?
Yep.
But they all know that the Yankees are still all about winning. And Joe Girardi is the one that probably leads that chant more than anybody. He said, hey, we're here to win. We're not here to think about next year. And they've promoted these young kids because they were doing well in AAA, and they need some offense.
Oh-2, chop back to the mound. Dickey has it, and the inning is over. Again, the Yankees get the first 2 men on, and again, Dickey gets out of it.
The Blue Jays live from the flight deck. Well, here's how you do it. Find the WestJet fan wagon in Toronto, and you could be next. Follow hashtag WestJet FanWagon on Twitter for details. We're in a bit of a delay right now. To explain why, we'll bring it back to Dan and Buck.
All right, Barry, thank you. Well, Hunter Wendelstedt, the home plate umpire, has left the game. So obviously he was still feeling something after taking that foul tip off the mask at the bottom of the second inning. At the end of the inning, he left the field. And Scott Berry, who had been the second base umpire, has gone underneath Buck, obviously, to put on the gear so he can be the home plate umpire.
Yeah, and it will be a while before we're going to resume play because the umpire has to put his gear on. And Jerry Lane, the home plate, or the crew chief of this umpiring crew, came over and explained it to both managers what had happened. And You know, oftentimes in a situation like that, an umpire will tell a catcher, man, I really got rocked with that one, and that'll be a red flag for everybody. But the trainers came out and gave him the concussion test, and here's the foul tip that resulted in Wendelstedt leaving. You can see it skipped off Tolley. And then at the end of the half inning, he and Steve Donahue, the Yankees trainer, exit, and he'll go back to the clubhouse and be checked a little more thoroughly, I'm sure.
So Jerry Lane, Trip Gibson, the other two umpires who are still on the field, talking with John Gibbons right now at the Blue Jays dugout. Everybody waiting for Scott Berry to come back out and get the game back underway. We'll step aside and be back with you in a couple of minutes here in the Bronx. Orioles, Tigers, Mariners playing well. Could be a crazy month and a half in the American League. All right, the umpires have gotten it sorted out. Jerry Lane and Trip Gibson and Scott Berry. They actually had a little meeting just to make sure. I would assume, Buck, they're used to 4 umpires. With 3, some of the coverages change a little bit.
Yeah, the rotations change a lot. Balls hit into the alleys. They have different assignments, and the umpires have worked in 3-man crews before in the minors. But it's a matter now of refreshing yourself. Okay, if this ball goes out here, I got to rotate to second. Maybe the third base umpire goes out on the play. So there are some different assignments when you're down an umpire.
So we hope all is well with Hunter Wendelstedt. Obviously, they felt he was in some discomfort, and as you mentioned, they went through the concussion protocol, and I'm sure he's going to be checked again, but hoping that it's nothing too serious for him. As now we continue on with 3 umpires. We'll see if this delay maybe upsets the timing or the rhythm a little bit of Chad Green, who has been terrific so far. 2 innings, 6 up, 6 down, 4 strikeouts. Justin Smoke, Melvin Upton Jr., and Josh Tolley coming up for the Blue Jays here in the 3rd. The Blue Jays have gotten very little offense recently from the bottom part of their lineup, and some of that again has to do with Bautista and Pilar being out and other players moving up in the lineup, and then some of the replacements filling in at the bottom of the lineup. But 7, 8, 9 has not been providing a lot of offense recently.
No, and that was the case last year when they had those guys down in the order of Travis early on, and then Pilar and Goins. They did a great job of getting on base, and even in yesterday's game, when the bottom of the order got on base, they scored runs. Daryl Siciliani had a big 2-out single on the 9th spot in the 4th inning, and then Smoke walked. Upton had an RBI single, and they started to produce. But you get these guys on base in the bottom 3rd of the order, then you turn it over to the top of the order. That's when you're really going to start to score some runs.
On the homestand, bottom 3rd of the order hit just 183 as a group. And overall, the Blue Jays have continued to win a lot of games, even though at times the offense has been hot and cold. They scored 9 runs against Houston yesterday. That's the most they've scored in a game this month. You have to go back to July 30th against Baltimore, the last time they scored 9. And in their last 14 games, they're hitting only .222. They're striking out 10 times a game, but they're 8-6.
Yeah, the pitching has been really good, consistent all season long. And you just don't know what kind of offense you're going to get until you start to get some of these players back. Carrera, you mentioned, Bautista, and then Pilar, and then you become a little more whole.
Carrera could be back tomorrow. Pilar could be back next week. Blue Jays with 3 games here, day off, and 3 games in Cleveland before they come back home to take on the struggling Angels next week. 3-2 to Smoke, swing and a miss to get him. That's 5 strikeouts already for Green,
including 4 in a row. He struck out the side in the 2nd when he got Saunders, Tulowitzki, and Siciliani. Now he gets Smoke to start the top of the 3rd. Again, it's going to be interesting. First time through the order. Blue Jays have not faced Green before, and they don't have much of a track record against him. In fact, nothing coming into this game.
Here's Melvin Upton Jr. hitting 176 as a Blue Jay, 246 overall. He's become the everyday center fielder in the absence of Kevin Pilar as he sends a fly ball to center field. There to make the play is Ellsbury, 2 down.
You know, we talked to Joe Girardi about his ball club, and at the start of play, just 3 games over 500, 6.5 back in the East. I said, well, what's been the problem for your team? He says, well, most of all, it's the starting pitching. It's been up and down. When we get a pitcher to throw 7 innings, we win. And it's just been inconsistent starting pitching that has been the problem for the Yankees, and now they've got injuries and they've lost some of their starters.
Well, Michael Pineda, who the Blue Jays will see tomorrow, has had a frustrating year. He's got an ERA over 5, a guy with a big arm but just can't put it together. Luis Severino got sent back down to the minors after another bad start yesterday. Totally grounds out. So far so good for Green. 9 up and 9 down through 3.
The Sportsnet app lets you stay up to date with the latest scores, breaking news, game highlights, and analysis of Canada's team. Plus, never miss a single pitch with our in-depth live game tracker. Available on iOS and Android devices. Another beautiful night. And Dan, this is the second time we've been on the road where we just missed a huge heat wave. The same thing happened last week in Kansas City. A beautiful night here in New York.
Very nice night now. That's the good news. The bad news is it could be raining cats and dogs tomorrow night here in the Bronx. That's the word. The weather may be a big issue. They play a day game Wednesday, but if for some reason, Buck, tomorrow's game were to be washed out, you'd have to imagine there's the possibility of a day-night doubleheader on Wednesday just so they can get the game in, although the Blue Jays do come back here one more time. But you'd like to think they could get it in now.
Yeah, I would think they would play some sort of doubleheader if there were a rain out in either one of these 2 days. I think both teams are off on Thursday. But the Yankees will go to Anaheim to play the Angels on Friday, so I'm sure they'd like to travel on that off day.
Chase Headley leads off the inning. Do you remember, do you miss regular doubleheaders?
Yes.
I mean, play a game, 25 minutes, play another game.
Yeah, I think I do. And, you know, that's been topic of discussion about shortening the schedule, changing it up so there's an off day every week. And that's part of the ongoing negotiations between the players and the owners.
I mean, you went through it as a player. I went through it as a kid in Toronto, going down to doubleheaders.
There's a lot of fun for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, before the season, and teenagers out there watching right now would find this hard to believe, there were scheduled doubleheaders that you knew were going to happen before the season. So you could go down and see 2 games for the price of 1, usually on a Saturday.
And growing up, too, you would a lot of Sunday doubleheaders. And that would be the last day of a series where you'd play 2 games and then have Monday off. But I can remember looking at the Giants schedule as a kid saying, boy, there's a doubleheader that day. We should go to that game. We could see 2 games.
Swing and a miss, and Headley strikes out. Things are very tight right now in the American League East, and they get a little bit tighter today with the Red Sox defeating the Indians 3-2. So the Blue Jays, Orioles, and the Red Sox are all separated by just a game and a half. And of course, theoretically, all 3 of them could make the playoffs. You could have 2 wild cards coming from the East, but don't forget about the Tigers and the Mariners and some of the other teams who are battling right now. And of course, the way the system is set up now, little soft liner caught by Tulowitzki. Gregorius is retired. When there was 1 wild card, it wasn't that big of a disadvantage to be the wild card. But now that there are 2, if you can avoid that, you get right into the division series. If you're a wild card, you got to play a 1-game playoff. And you know, talk to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have run into Jake Arrieta and Madison Bumgarner for the wild card game the last couple of years. You want to do anything you can to win your division right now.
The division is what you want to accomplish. Win that, and then you're in. No problems at all. But it's really interesting when you look at this division. The Blue Jays are 7-6 against Baltimore, 7-6 against Boston, 7-2 against the Yankees, and 6-7 against Tampa Bay.
Caught off the shoe tops by Travis. Teixeira is retired. That's a quick and tidy 3-up, 3-down inning for Dickey. We're through 3, and it's scoreless. Leading the way on the Blue Jays in terms of batting average is Devin Travis, hitting a robust .318. He has been, when healthy, one of the most productive second basemen in baseball. Cano, Kipnis, Dozier, Travis's numbers are awfully good. Got 10 home runs on the season, and again missed a lot of time early in the season recovering from the serious shoulder injury that he had last year. But man, does this young man have a lot of upside, and whether long term he's the leadoff hitter or not, the Blue Jays seem to have somebody they know they can count on. We talk about the Yankees and their young players. Travis is a little further along in his development, and I'm sure a lot of teams, when they called the Blue Jays and said, hey, we've got some pitching, do you want any? I'm sure a lot of them were asking about Devin Travis.
Absolutely, a good two-way player. Defense has really improved and much better than advertised when they acquired him in the trade from the Tigers, but looks like he's got his position on this team for the long haul.
He's retired. That's 10 in a row set down by Green. Only one ball has left the infield. Melvin Upton hit a fly ball to center field. Green has 5 strikeouts already tonight, including Josh Donaldson looking back in the first. We were talking before the game about possible MVP candidates in the American League, and Donaldson's in the conversation. The Blue Jays just saw Jose Altuve over the weekend. I know that although they contained him, most teams have not been able to do that, hitting up over 360, power, speed, defense, you name it. And Mookie Betts, with his second 3-home run game of the season yesterday, drove in 8. You look at Mookie Betts' numbers, he's got to be in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, he's in the conversation. And you look at Encarnacion, Edwin, of course, is going to be one of those guys that gets a lot of votes. 97 RBIs. He leads David Ortiz by 7 in that department. Mookie Betts has 50 multi-hit games, same number as Jose Altuve.
He's got 26 home runs.
Well, what he did getting his second 3-home run of the season yesterday tied the great Ted Williams, who did it in his career. Doesn't happen very often where a player hits 3 home runs once in a season, but he's done it twice already this season.
Donaldson with a ground ball to short. Up with it, Gregorius, 2 down. Now, you mentioned Edwin Encarnacion. He is second in the major leagues in home runs, just 1 behind Mark Trumbo of the Orioles. Todd Frazier, Nolan Arenado next on the list, and Encarnacion is the major league leader in RBIs with a 97. First half of the season, David Ortiz was getting a ton of talk as an MVP candidate. Now, DHs probably face a few more hurdles when it comes to getting MVP consideration, although Encarnacion is not exclusively a DH. He's played a fair bit at first base, but if he goes on and finishes strong and the Blue Jays make the playoffs, it'll be interesting to see where he winds up.
Yeah, he'll get strong consideration given his consistency and how he's been able to make up for Jose Bautista spending some time on the disabled list. But Bautista and Encarnacion both hitting their 300th career home run over the last 2 weeks. He's been Mr. Consistent, that's for sure.
60 extra base hits on the season. More than half of his hits, 60 of 118, have gone for extra bases. 27 doubles, 33 homers. I think a lot of Blue Jay fans, when he was hit on the hand yesterday, I mean, you know, Matt Holliday, just his season might have ended a few days ago. You never know what can happen when you get hit on the hand. And the Blue Jays may have gotten lucky twice, with Tulowitzki a few weeks ago and now with Encarnacion. Popped him up. And Chad Green continues to cruise. He has faced 12. He has retired 12 so far tonight.
Live on your phone and tablet with the MLB.com at-bat app. Customize at-bat to feature the Blue Jays and stay up to the moment at any moment with scores, news, live game video highlights, and much more. Download MLB.com at-bat. It is the #1 app for live baseball. Now the #1 broadcast crew in the world, Dan Schulman and Buck Martinez.
Wow, I was unaware of that.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Going to the bottom of the 4th here in the Bronx with some Blue Jay fans in attendance here tonight in New York. No score. Blue Jays have yet to have a base runner against Chad Green. R.A. Dickey got out of a jam in the 1st, got out of another jam in the 2nd, and got the Yankees in order in the 3rd. And now faces Starlin Castro to begin the 4th. Castro had a frustrating at-bat in the 1st. Dickey fell behind 2-0, and then swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. And a slam the bat down for good measure at the end of the at-bat.
Now, we talked about R.A. Dickey and his dominance over the Yankee hitters over the years, and we have a list of pitchers that have thrown at least 100 innings against the Yankees since 1969, and only Pedro Martinez has a better opponent's average against the Yankees than R.A. Dickey.
In front of the mound, Dickey up with it, plenty of time, 1 down.
Pedro held the Yankees to a .211 opponent's batting average, and R.A. Dickey coming in this game .214. And the rest of the people on this 5-man list, Nolan Ryan was next at .217. Jim Palmer .224, tied with Dave Steep at .224. A pretty impressive list, and R.A. Dickey is second to Pedro Martinez.
Here's Brian McCann. Well, questions again today in the office of John Gibbons about the 6-man rotation. You can't go a day if you're John Gibbons without getting asked about the rotation, and it all comes back to Aaron Sanchez, as Dickey wanted that pitch. It all comes back to Sanchez and how long will he remain in the rotation. The addition of Francisco Liriano, of course, has changed the dynamic, but Sanchez keeps pitching so well that they just keep rolling him out there another time. And now with a 6-man rotation and some off days, everybody's really pitching once a week right now, as McCann fouls it off. And I mean, they could stay 6 through the rest of the season. Sanchez could go to the pen. If Liriano struggles, who knows, they could go in another direction.
Yeah, and there's a lot of options for John Gibbons and Pete Walker with the off days. As you mentioned, they'll have this Thursday off, and then they'll have Monday off, the 22nd, and there are 2 more off days in September. Actually 3. They are off on the 1st of September as well. So they have 3 Thursdays off in the month of September, so they can do a lot of juggling.
McCann draws the walk, the 3rd given up by Dickey so far tonight.
We've been there from the start. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, proud fan since 1977.
Very nice night here in New York. The Blue Jays and the Yankees opening up a 3-game series. No score here in the bottom of the 4th inning. A 1-out base runner for the Yankees as Gary Sanchez comes up. Back to the rotation. You know as well as anybody that pitchers are creatures of habit, maybe more than any other professional athlete. So they've gone from a 5-man to a 6-man rotation plus the off days. They're really pitching once a week from right now. They're all on board. They all understand what's going on here. They all want Sanchez to keep pitching because he's been so good for the team. But again, it could go 4 or 5 different ways, and nobody seems to know, or at least nobody's saying what way it might go.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Sanchez will make another start or 2 possibly. I would expect he will start against Cleveland. And then with the off day coming up on Monday, I think that's when they might have to make an adjustment. And Pete Walker, he's the one that's challenged with the scheduling concerns. I mean, if you keep all these guys in a row, some guys aren't going to pitch for 8 days. And that's a real problem. That's when you really have to deal with the issue of rust and inconsistency. But I think you're right. The pitchers have really bought into it. And they have, if they do have any bad thoughts about it, they've kept them to themselves, and they are working hard trying to solve the issue of too much rest.
Hitters count 3-1 on Sanchez. Inside of ball 4. Another walk given up by Dickey, his 4th already tonight.
That knuckleball command just comes and goes. He retired the side in order in the third. And then comes in here, gets Castro on a little tapper back to the mound, and then walks McCann and Sanchez. Now he has to deal with this young power hitter.
Aaron Judge struck out his first time up. 2 home runs already in his very brief major league career that began on Saturday. And now he hits the ball well to right center field. It'll split the outfielders, and the Yankees have themselves a lead. RBI double for Judge. The Yankees lead 1-0.
His first big league double goes to the alley in right center, and I think that's what's the most intriguing aspect of watching Judge as a hitter. He is so big, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark from foul pole to foul pole. And this is a great swing. He stays on it, just his second at bat against R.A. Dickey, and he's not thinking about anything other than going with the pitch. And this pitch happens to take him into the alley in right center. So he drives home the first run of the game. Brian McCann, who was walked, he scores from second base, and New York has a 1-0 lead.
Now Aaron Hicks.
You look at young hitters and you see where their power is. When you see a young hitter driving the ball opposite way, that's a bad sign for opposing pitchers. It tells you that he's got confidence. He doesn't have to pull the ball to hit it out of the ballpark. With that, he has a little more time to judge breaking ball or fastball, ball or strike. He's become a much better hitter.
Infielders are back for the Blue Jays with the exception of Donaldson at third, who is even with a bag, and he just bluffed as if he were going to go to third after the pitch and draw a throw from Tolley to see if they could catch Sanchez wandering too far down the line. A well-placed ground ball here by Hicks could get the Yankees another run. 1-0. They're up in the bottom of the fourth inning and looking for more. 1-2. Dickey, as we mentioned, has struggled in 4 of his 5 starts since the All-Star break. Danced in and out of trouble in the first and second inning here tonight. Had a very good third inning, but has given up a run here in the fourth. The 6-man rotation, one other thing that it does is it shortens the bench. They're carrying 13 pitchers instead of 12. Come September, not an issue. You can call up as many guys as you want, get up to 40 men if you want on the major league roster, but they're still better than 2 weeks away from the rosters expanding. 1-2 outside.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I don't think they're going to go with this 6-man rotation until the 1st of September. I think they're going to make some adjustments just so they can get an extra body on the bench, and that extra body might arrive tomorrow in the form of Ezekiel Carrera, who is eligible to come off the DL tomorrow.
And a swing and a miss, a big second out for Dickey, with the runners remaining at second and third as he strikes out Hicks. But who knows what they could do? They could even say, you know what, we're going to skip pitcher X this time and have pitcher Y go, and then next time around we'll have X go and Y sit. They could do a dozen different things.
Yeah, there's a lot of options, but certainly I don't think they need to carry as many pitchers as they have right now, and you could probably get by and just skip a starter, but there's also the possibility maybe you're going to option one of those guys just to get an extra position player on your roster for 2 weeks.
Now this is big right here. 2 on, 2 in scoring position, in fact, and 2 out. If Dickey can get Ellsbury and keep it just a 1-run inning, a base hit though could cash in a couple of runs. Ellsbury has doubled and grounded out.
Yeah, I don't think Dickey can afford to throw Ellsbury a fastball in this at bat. You remember he hit a fastball the first pitch he saw from Dickey for a double. I think he has to throw the knuckleball throughout this entire at bat with 2 in scoring position.
Big swing and a miss, 2-1. Runner at third, Sanchez. Judge, who drove in a run with a double, is at second. Dickey's about to throw his 25th pitch of the inning and his 79th pitch of the ball game already.
He threw 89 pitches in 4 1/3 last time out. As we mentioned, just the third time he threw less than 5 innings in a start this season.
Two. Got him looking. Ellsbury doesn't like it, but Dickey gets out of it. He does give up the 1 run. Yankees lead 1-0 at the end of 4. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Spot to play on field at a Blue Jays fan camp in September. Visit participating Boston Pizza locations and enter when purchasing any Budweiser and burger combo. Go to bluejays.com/BudBP contest for details and rules. We'll get you back now to Dan and Buck.
Barry, thank you. And the Yankees have a 1-0 lead as the Blue Jays come up here in the top of the 5th inning in the Bronx, opening game of a 3-game series. Marco Estrada and Michael Pineda tomorrow night, then a day game on Wednesday. Jay Happ 16-3 against CC Sabathia. Michael Saunders, Troy Tulowitzki, and Daryl Siciliani for the Blue Jays here in the 5th. They have sent 12 men to the plate, and nobody's reached base yet. 5 strikeouts for Chad Green, making his 5th start of the season, 9th appearance with the Yankees as he drops in a breaking ball for a strike. So Martin getting the night off with R.A. Dickey on the mound and Josh Tolley catching. Kevin Pillar on the DL. Also Martin swinging the bat well.
Yes, he is. He's playing very well. He's also thrown great lately. He's thrown out 3 of the last 6 base stealers, including Altuve twice in the 3-game series against Houston.
Two and 1 the count on Saunders, who struck out in the 2nd inning. Lays off low, ball 3. The Orioles are not in action tonight. Kind of a light schedule. A total of 10 games around the majors on this Monday night. We mentioned the Red Sox beat the Indians earlier today. Detroit's trailing Kansas City 1-0 in the 5th. Nice running fastball there at 95 with the count now full. Oakland's up 1-0 on Texas in the 1st inning. Yankees one of the teams that will even move people around depending on the count. They're not worried about the bunt anymore now with 2 strikes. So Headley will leave his spot near third base and head over onto the other side of the infield. I wonder at what point though for a pitcher is it almost a distraction with guys moving around from pitch to pitch behind you?
I think it's a distraction for a lot of pitchers, and oftentimes we'll see a pitcher react to a ground ball, turn around and see that there's nobody there because of the shift. But most teams will tell you, hey, we go with percentages. We can't guard against broken bat dribblers or squibbers off the end of the bat. But in this at bat with Saunders at the plate, early in the at bat before 2 strikes, they had Chase Headley, the third baseman, playing on the third base side to guard against the bunt. And once there were 2 strikes, you see Gregorius, the shortstop, moving back over to his normal position, and Headley going on the other side of second from third base.
strikeout number 6.
Six strikeouts for Green, and he's used the wide assortment of pitches. He's thrown a lot of sliders to the lefties, and this is another good one. The bottom drops out of that slider just before it gets into that hitting zone, and Saunders strikes out, swings over the top of it. He's gone down swinging twice against Green.
Green, 24 years of age, born in Greenville, South Carolina, went to the University of, depending on where you're from, either Louisville or Louisville. Because if you're from there, you say Louisville. And was with the Tigers, was acquired in an offseason deal this past winter, along with Luis Cessa, a reliever who's in the Yankee pen right now. Justin Wilson, the reliever, going the other way.
Green was actually drafted out of high school by the Blue Jays. 37th round pick, and he opted to go to Louisville. Worked out of their bullpen until his junior year, and then he became their Friday night pitcher, which is your #1 pitcher in college. The Friday night pitcher is always the best starter in college baseball. Blue Jays drafted him in 2010 out of high school in Illinois, and as Dan mentioned, he went to Louisville and pitched 3 seasons there. He was a 11th round pick of the Tigers in 2013.
And some great numbers at AAA this year. Had a 1.52 ERA in 15 starts, had a 26-inning scoreless streak, was an all-star in the International League. And now another young player getting a chance here in the later portion of the season for the Yankees. It's, to a certain extent, audition time already for the Yankees heading into 2017. Which again is a little strange because they're only 5 games out of a playoff spot. They're a long shot, there's no doubt about it. But it's not like they're buried 15 games under 500 or anything like that.
Now, and one of their young pitchers hasn't developed as much as they had hoped. Luis Severino, he pitched yesterday. They sent him back to AAA, and Joe Girardi was telling me that they just can't convince Severino to really work on that changeup. He's got a great fastball. He throws 97, but for big league hitters, 97 without a complimentary pitch is good batting practice.
Well, last year he was good. And it looked like he might take the next step. They were thinking of him as maybe being their #2 starter after Masahiro Tanaka heading into this year, and instead he's wound up either floundering at the big league level or down at AAA. The big news, though, around the Bronx in recent days, as Tulowitzki fouls off another one, of course, was the Alex Rodriguez situation on Friday. He was released after the game. He did play on Friday. What did you make of the whole situation, the lead up to it? There's always a little drama surrounding anything that involves Alex Rodriguez, but he is, for all intents and purposes, I mean, he's got an advisory, whatever it is, but he's an ex-Yankee.
He's an ex-Yankee. He won't be back in a Yankee uniform, that's for sure, and certainly not as a player.
Dropped into left field, a base hit for Tulowitzki. What a good at bat after he fouled off pitch after pitch, and the Blue Jays finally have their first base runner of the night.
Well, Tulowitzki did a great job of taking those tough breaking balls and fouling them off, and then gets a little bit slower breaking ball that stays over the outside edge, and you can see how he extends through the at bat, reaches out, and really uses the lower half of his body to get to that ball, and comes up with the first hit, first base runner of the night for the Blue Jays.
Now to bring up Siciliani, who was called out on strikes his first time up. 1-0 the Yankees lead in the 5th inning. Do you think Alex Rodriguez suits up in a major league game for another team ever again?
No, I don't think so. And you know, first, as soon as Giancarlo Stanton goes down with a possible season-ending injury, everybody said, well, he should go to Miami. Well, where's he going to play? National League, can't DH, can't play right field, can't play first base, and he's not going to play third, and he can't hit right now. So I don't think you'll see him in a uniform.
Such a strange weekend, because on Friday night is the pregame ceremony for Alex Rodriguez, during which, as just about everybody saw, a thunderstorm broke out right in the middle of the ceremony. Then what a contrast, Saturday they honor the 1996 World Series champions, and Rivera and Jeter and Williams and Pettit and Posada and all the gang is there. And then yesterday, they dedicate a plaque out in Monument Park for Mariano Rivera. Siciliani rips one into the right field corner. Tulowitzki around to third, and diving in head first at second with a double is Siciliani, as the Blue Jays now finally getting to Chad Green.
We mentioned Siciliani had a big hit for the Blue Jays yesterday in the 4th inning, a 2-out RBI single, and he comes up with a big double right here. He lines it down the right field line, with Tulowitzki getting the first hit. Tulo goes first to third easily. Now watch his throw from Judge as he fires a rocket to second base from the warning track in right. But Siciliani is there to pick up the double, his second double of the season. And he's got to hustle. He has seen Aaron Judge playing down in AAA. He knows he's got a good arm.
So the first real opportunity now for the Blue Jays. Justin Smoke is the batter with the runners at second and third and 1 out. Smoke really struggling this year with the runners in scoring position, hitting just 139. 10 for 72 in these kind of situations on the season. He struck out his first time up tonight. Blue Jays looking for a big hit to cash in a run or two here in the 5th inning. Infielders play him to pull. So does Ellsbury out in center, shading over toward right center field. Cut fastball in over the inside edge for a called strike, 1-1. Green set down the first 13 tonight, but then Tulowitzki battled, came up with a base hit. Siciliani ripped one into the right field corner for a double. And now Smoke. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Smoke has 3 career home runs here at Yankee Stadium, and including a grand slam. He's actually hit 250 in this ballpark, and right now he just needs to get something to the outfield. The outfield is deep. A base hit probably scores 2.
Down and in. Well, he's gone down and in with the cut fastball. He's gone upstairs with the 4-seam fastball. Young pitcher, young catcher, trying to work through it here in the 5th inning for the Yankees.
But Joe Girardi, being a catcher himself, made sure that Sanchez catches Green here tonight. They worked together all season in AAA. So it's not like they have to get to know each other.
Melvin Upton waiting on deck. The count full, a base open, with runners at second and third, and a full count on Smoke, as Green will step off. Bounced foul.
Off speed pitch. He had him out in that front foot, and Smoke just barely got the barrel on the baseball. Now Sanchez is out to the mound to talk about this next pitch. Pivotal pitch in this inning, of course. Green pitched on Tuesday down in AAA. Threw 92 pitches in 5 innings.
3-2. Fouled back by Smoke. Well, Smoke, a guy who will strike out a lot, just probably thinking about getting something in the air to the outfield deep enough to bring home Tulowitzki and tie the game. Go ahead run out at second in Siciliani. Green having to work hard this inning. He's already thrown 26 pitches in this inning. Thank Tulowitzki for a lot of that. Swing and a miss. Off speed pitch to get Smoke, 2 down.
Green with 7 strikeouts has struck out Smoke twice, and you can see just a changeup down and away, and Sanchez and Green had a little conference about that pitch. They went out there and put their heads together and came up with a big strikeout. Now they got to do the same with Melvin Upton Jr.
It's a little bit different facing the Yankees now. If this game were a couple of months ago, you'd be thinking, well, if you don't get them by the end of 6, you're not going to get them, because it's going to be Betances, Miller, and Chapman. Miller and Chapman aren't here anymore. Betances is closing. That having been said, this is the first shot the Blue Jays have had tonight, as Upton tries to take advantage. He swings and fouls one back.
Upton is the only Blue Jay that had faced Chad Green prior to this game. Green started against San Diego while Upton was still with the Padres on the 3rd of July. He was 0 for 3 in that game with a strikeout.
Well located slider right there, and it's 0-2. Upton conferring with Scott Berry, the home plate umpire right now, making sure that Berry did indeed feel that was a strike. Green trying to work out of the first trouble he's found himself in tonight.
Well, he likes that slider. We told you at the top of the show, fastball slider. That's exactly what he's utilized the most here to this point. 7 strikeouts for Green.
Tulowitzki at third, Siciliani at second, and 2 down in the inning as Green steps off again. The 1-2. Another slider, but Upton lays off.
Green is 1 away from his career high in strikeouts. He had 8 strikeouts in that game against San Diego. He had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings. Didn't walk a batter. Without just 1 run on 3 hits.
Two on the way. Like a changeup right there, and Upton just got a piece of it.
That's the pitch that Smoke struck out on, was a changeup, and Sanchez called another changeup. And we showed you he throws changeups only about 3% of the time. But Sanchez in this inning has had a couple of meetings with Green, and they've obviously said, hey, let's use that changeup now.
I saw a lively bunch out of the left field of the bleachers. Otherwise, it's really kind of quiet here at Yankee Stadium right now as Green tries to battle out of it. 2-2 again. Fastball misses way outside at a full count. Tulowitzki singled with 1 out in the inning, went to third on the double by Siciliani. Smoke struck out, and now a full count with 2 down on Upton. With Tolle on deck should the inning continue. Green the set, and the 3-2. And it's sent foul out of play as Upton earns another pitch. Well, if nothing else, the Blue Jays are fighting off pitches, extending at bats, and maybe ensuring that Joe Girardi has to go to the bullpen a little bit earlier than he wants to at some point tonight. But they have yet to push a run across against Green. 35th pitch of the inning upcoming.
Upton doing a good job of getting to that pitch down and away. Upton hasn't had an extra base hit since joining the Blue Jays, and while in San Diego he had 16 home runs, 11 doubles and 2 triples.
He has seen everything that Green has to offer. The fastball, the slider, the changeup. 3-2 again. Fastball, strike 3 called on the outside corner. Upton doesn't like it when the inning is over. Green with strikeout number 8. And the Blue Jays leave a couple of men on in scoring position here in the 5th inning in the Bronx. news for the Yankees over the weekend. Yesterday, Mariano Rivera, in the minds of most, the greatest reliever the game has ever seen. He was honored, and they unveiled a plaque in his honor here at Yankee Stadium. Known to most as Mo, a guy who was a starter initially, as so many great pitchers are, obviously. And I don't want to use the term a failed starter, but he never had great success as a starter. Became a reliever, perfected the cutter, and winds up with a plaque. And he's going to have another plaque at Cooperstown in a few years.
Yes, he sure will. And what a terrific career. Came up in 1992. He was the last Yankee that will wear the number 42, as he was grandfathered in, having worn it prior to the Jackie Robinson announcement. And Mariano Rivera came up in 95, and the team won in 96, and that was part of the core four. Those farmhands that all grew up together, and they really stayed together for a long time. And Derek Jeter, in reference to that 96 team, said, George Daimler said, if we win, we'll keep the team together. And they did. And they kept the team together for a long time, and they had tremendous success.
Fair ball down the left field line off the bat of Chase Headley. And he is into second base with a leadoff double here in the 5th inning. Third time in 5 innings that the leadoff man has reached against Dickey.
Chase Headley on base for a second time. He walked in the first, picks up his 14th double of the season. And Headley, batting right-handed against Dickey, hits a pretty good knuckleball. Looked like it broke down, and he hits it into the left field corner. Siciliani digs it out. For Headley, just his 5th hit against Dickey. He is now 5 for 22 against the knuckleballer.
Here's Didi Gregorius. First pitch swinging, fly ball to center. And just a few steps to his right is Upton to make the catch, 1 down. After the double, the bullpen got up. Joe Biagini is starting to throw.
Biagini's been terrific for the Blue Jays, pitching out of their bullpen, and he has really been consistent in his ability to throw strikes. So he's the first up behind R.A. Dickey. Biagini has really been impressive. He pitched twice on this recent homestand. Total of 2 2/3 innings, allowed just 2 hits.
Here's Mark Teixeira. Teixeira has popped up and hit a soft liner tonight. He's 0 for 2. 1 run on 4 hits for the Yankees. No runs on just 2 hits for the Blue Jays. The Yankees batting here in the bottom of the 5th. You know, back to Rivera for a second. Baseball's all-time saves leader with 652. In his last year in the majors, at the age of 43, he had 44 saves and an ERA of 2.11.
You remember, he was the setup man for John Wetland in '96, and then he took over for Wetland. And he took that closer role to another level here in New York.
One of the most impressive things about him is no matter how you felt about the Yankees, whether you were a Blue Jay fan, Red Sox fan, Orioles, whatever, even if you hated the Yankees, you couldn't hate Mariano Rivera. I mean, as classy a guy as he was a great pitcher.
Yes.
I mean, he was a great pitcher and as exceptional a person as he was a talent.
Truly a gentleman. He's from Panama, and he led the league in saves 3 different seasons. He had 2 seasons of 50 or more saves, and he was just the epitome of class in everything he did. The way he handled himself on the mound, even after exciting saves, he just went about his business. Look out, that is a nasty barrel that ends up in the runway, and that was a dangerous broken bat that sailed into the seats. You can see the handle, and that thing split all the way the length of the entire bat.
Teixeira pops up for the second out. You don't expect to see, I mean, it was right in on his hands, but you don't expect to see a guy get sawed off that badly on a knuckleball. Dickey gets the second out. Headley still at second. And the batter with 2 down is Starlin Castro, who has struck out and grounded out. Give you one more Rivera number. Postseason. 78 appearances, 96 appearances, 141 innings. You know what his career postseason ERA? You're looking at it, so I know you. 0.70. When the games meant the most, and when he often would get 4, 5, 6 outs, sometimes even more than that, if Joe Torre needed to push him extra hard, he was even better.
Yeah, and you know what? He's playing against the best teams in baseball that particular season, and to have that many appearances, he was 8-1 in the postseason with 42, appropriately 42 postseason saves.
Here's the 0-2. Sent foul off to the right. You know, there are so many closers, and Roberto Osuna is such a young guy. Second year in the majors, off to a brilliant start in his major league career. There are so few closers who seem to be able to sustain it over 7, 8, 10, 12 years. Osuna could very well be one of those guys. Rivera took it to a whole other level.
Rivera didn't get his first save until he was 26. Osuna has 45 saves before he turns 22. Just recently tied Terry Forrester for that mark. Most saves by a pitcher before their 22nd birthday.
Two again, and a ground ball to short for Tulowitzki. That'll end the inning. Leadoff double, but nothing across. At the end of 5, it's still 1-0. The Yankees leading the Blue Jays. Coming up top 6, it'll be 9-1-2. Josh Thole is going to lead it off. Then back to the top of the order for Devin Travis with Josh Donaldson hitting third.
Like home starting at $5 a day. Roam in the U.S. on a share everything plan, and you can use your phone just as you do at home in over 100 destinations around the world. Go to Rogers.com/roamlikehome for details. Dan?
Barry, thank you. Top of the 6th inning here in the Bronx. Opening game of a 3-game series. Chad Green on the mound for the Yankees, and the Yankees with a 1-0 lead as Josh Thole leads off the inning. Thole, Travis, Donaldson. Blue Jays have just 2 hits tonight. A single by Tulowitzki and a double by Siciliani with 1 out in the 5th inning, but then Green struck out Smoke and Upton to get out of it. Thole down to a knee as he takes it inside.
R.A. Dickey had a tough loss here when the Blue Jays were last here in May. Nathan Eovaldi beat the Blue Jays and Dickey on just 2 hits. And then the Jays came back and won the next 2 games. Estrada beat Nova 8-4, and Happ beat Sabathia 3-1. So they won 2 of 3 when they were last here in the Bronx.
Kind of strange they're going to be here again in 3 weeks. Labor Day Monday and then Tuesday, Wednesday. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 9 for Green. That's a new season and career high.
lot of things have changed, but one thing hasn't. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, proud fan since 1977.
Welcome back to New York. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez, Barry Davis with us as well. Activity now in the Yankee bullpen. The right-hander is Anthony Swarzak, and the left-hander is Tommy Lane. And again, the Blue Jays have not scored, but they have had some lengthy at-bats, a lot of foul balls, and even though Green's been great, he's up near 100 pitches with one out here in the 6th inning. He had to throw 35 pitches last inning. So the Blue Jays may be rid of him by the end of this inning, if not sooner. Travis is grounded out in both at bats tonight. Count now 2-2.
Artie Dickey has pitched out of some tough jams here tonight, and he's been able to come up with big pitch after big pitch to keep it a 1-0 ball game. And he's pitched around some leadoff doubles, leadoff walk in the 3rd, the 2nd, and he's up against a tough pitcher in Chad Green,
who has struck out 4 in a row just through the same pitch to Travis that he threw to Upton to end the last inning. Fastball right on the outside corner, right at the knees. About as good a pitch as you can make.
Yeah, he's got that fastball. It has a lot of carry to it. It doesn't lose elevation. It just drives right on through the strike zone, and he made both good pitches to Upton to end the 5th, and the pitch to Travis here, 2nd out of the 6th.
He has struck out 4 consecutive batters on 2 separate occasions tonight. Did it back in the 2nd and 3rd. Now he's done it in the 5th and 6th. Josh Donaldson a strikeout and a ground out. Every Blue Jays hitter except Edwin Encarnacion has struck out at least once tonight. Blue Jays fans hoping the bringer of rain can get one up in the air and maybe tie this game. Two and one.
Boy, Green's made good pitches away from these right-handed hitters consistently. No walks, 10 strikeouts, and 102 pitches to this point.
Not leaving many balls over the middle of the plate. That one was center but down just below the knees of Donaldson as he fouls off the slider, and the count is 2-2.
Green threw over 100 pitches 6 times while starting in AAA for the Yankees. And he's up over 100 for the first time this season in the big leagues.
And he strikes out the side again. 11 strikeouts through 6 shutout innings. Could be the end of the line because of the pitch count for Chad Green. But what a night for him, silencing the Blue Jays bats. Walker, the pitching coach, in conversation in the Blue Jay dugout. The night is over for R.A. Dickey. He will not come back out for the 6th inning. Bobbed and weaved his way through 5 buck, a lot of base runners, but he only allowed the 1 run.
Yeah, he did a good job of pitching around trouble, and the only run driven in by the rookie, Aaron Judge. Judge had an opposite field double in the 4th. They chased home Brian McCann, who walked against Dickey, and now Joe Biagini will be the first up for the Blue Jays out of the bullpen. His 43rd appearance. What a rookie season he's put together. Impressive numbers all across the board. Right-handers hitting .235, lefties just .274, but Biagini's done a great job of refining his mechanics and mastering the ability to throw all of his pitches anytime in an at-bat.
Brian McCann leads off the bottom of the 6th for the Yankees. McCann has walked twice tonight, and he scored the Yankee run back in the 4th inning. He'll be followed by Gary Sanchez and Aaron Judge, 6, 7, and 8 in the Yankee lineup. Meanwhile, for the Yankees, Tyler Clippard is now throwing the pen. So again, over 100 pitches. It looks like Chad Green's night is done. The Blue Jays will probably say good riddance. Don't let the door hit you in the rear end on the way out, after the way he shut them down for 6 shutout innings, 2 hits, and 11 strikeouts. Blue Jays would love to see anybody else right now.
Yeah, and that's the way it's been for the Blue Jays, facing pitchers they're not familiar with. We saw it a couple of times down in Houston when those young relief pitchers came in. Joe Musgrove made his major league debut pitching out of the bullpen, and he struck out 8. Veteran hitters, they struggle against a youngster they're not familiar with. They don't have any idea about patterns and what pitches to look for in different counts.
Here's the 2-2. And a hanging breaking ball is lined sharply into right field, right through the shift. A base hit for McCann. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Yankee Stadium here in the Bronx. Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez, a 1-0 lead for the Yankees, and the leadoff man aboard in the 6th inning. McCann at first, and here's Gary Sanchez, a base hit and a walk so far. Big hole on the right side. Travis shading up the middle, and Smoke holding the runner on. Ripped foul down the left field line.
You know, for the longest time, the Yankees really overhyped their catching prospects, and it goes back to Gianna Navarro, Jesus Montero, J.R. Murphy. They've just overhyped their catching prospects, but Sanchez, to me, from what I've seen in just a few at-bats and watching him behind the plate, looks like they might have something in this 23-year-old.
Curveball for a strike, 0-2. Biagini, and this is the kind of thing you almost hate to say out loud because it's a streak, but he hasn't given up a home run this year. 47 1/3 innings, has not allowed a home run. The only reliever in the majors who has pitched that many innings without giving up a home run. And he went around. Scott Berry, the home plate umpire, says Sanchez went. That's a strikeout for out number 1.
Yeah, Biagini, he just has all of those different weapons to utilize, and he'll throw a breaking ball anytime. He's got a lot of confidence. That looked like a curveball that Sanchez didn't check his swing, and Biagini gets the strikeout.
You know, when you carry a Rule 5 guy, when you make the decision to draft a player out of another team's organization and carry him all season, you figure you'll spot him in here, spot him in there, use him when you can in games that aren't very close. But I don't think there's any doubt that he has exceeded expectations and has had a much larger role on this team than anybody could have imagined.
No question. Earlier on, he was pitching in the 7th and 8th inning, but now with the addition of Benoit and Grilla, he can come in earlier and give you a couple of innings out of the pen. Aaron Judge has driven in the only run of this game, and he also homered in back-to-back games in his first major league season as a 24-year-old or younger. And when you look at the list of Yankees that have done that throughout this franchise's history, it's a pretty impressive list. A couple of Hall of Famers included on that list. Joe DiMaggio did it in 1936, his rookie season. He had home runs in back-to-back games with the home run in his first major league season. And then Tommy Henrich did it in 37. And Mickey Mantle did it twice in 1955.
It's fair company.
And with that double to drive in the only run of this game, he's the only Yankee in the last 100 years to have at least one extra base hit in his first 3 games.
When he makes contact, it goes a long way. Can he make enough contact to be a productive hitter at the major league level? The Yankees are banking on yes as he takes just off the outside corner and draws the walk, pushing McCann up to second. Biagini gets a visit from Tolley as number 9 hitter Aaron Hicks comes up now for the Yankees. Hicks has flied out and struck out so far tonight. Kind of feels like the Blue Jays have been hanging on by their fingernails all night long. The Yankees have had opportunities. They've left 7 men on through 5. They've had the leadoff man on in 4 out of 6 innings, but they have not been able to come up with a really big hit or two to blow this one open. So it's still just a 1-run game. The Yankees are 1 for 12 tonight with runners in scoring position. The one was the double by Judge that has driven in the only run of the game. So give Dickey a lot of credit for making some big pitches when he had to and allowing just the 1 run when he was in trouble in a number of innings. Biagini in a little bit of trouble right now. McCann at second and Judge at first. A little bit inside, ball 2.
Biagini's just missing with those pitches. He's keeping the ball down, and you mentioned he hasn't given up a home run. That's the reason that he's been able to really pound the bottom part of the strike zone. Keeps the ball down very well with his fastball and with his breaking balls. Josh Tolley making his 33rd start with Dickey, opening up this 3-game series in New York, catching Biagini now.
Look back, and now the 2-1 and a base hit into right field for Hicks. McCann, who does not run well at all, is going to be held at third. The throw cut by Smoke, and the Yankees have loaded the bases with 1 out.
Pete Walker looks like wants to come out and have a chat with Biagini. First, let's take a look at this high pitch. And you mentioned the high breaking ball that Biagini threw to McCann. This is a high fastball that Hicks rips into right. McCann got it started with a leadoff single. He is stopped at third. Comes around third, sees the stop sign. And now the Yankees have the bases loaded. Ryan Tepera just now getting up. Ellsbury, the batter, is left-handed. Blue Jays only have the one left-hander in their pen, Brett Cecil.
The batter is Jacoby Ellsbury, obviously a very tough guy to double up. Left-handed batter with a lot of speed, a .321 lifetime hitter with the bases loaded. Does not have a grand slam in his career. He's 1 for 3 tonight, doubled back in the first inning. 1-0 Yankees, but they have the bases loaded with 1 out here in the 6th. Biagini comes in having not been scored upon in his last 12 outings, but that is in serious jeopardy right here. Swing and a miss. Ellsbury helped him out right there.
Ellsbury this season has hit over 300 against the Blue Jays coming into this game. He doubled on the first pitch he saw tonight from Dickey. He's 1 for 3. Stranded at second, never moved up after the leadoff double.
The 0-1. 0-2 now on Ellsbury.
Much better pitches to Ellsbury in this at bat as Biagini was able to hit those balls down and on the corners.
Because McCann does not run well at all, any ball on the ground, if they don't think they can turn two, any one of the infielders could conceivably come home and still force the lead runner. As mentioned, Ellsbury's a tough guy to double up. See if Ellsbury can put something in play. He does. Back to the mound, knocked down, and they will still get the out. Barely, as Tolley was able to keep his toe on the plate. Almost an errant throw by Biagini as well, but they do force the runner at the plate.
Now Biagini knew exactly where he had to go once he knocks this ball down. A hot grounder back to the mound. He gets a glove on it, knocks it down. McCann's chugging for home, but Tolley makes the stretch and keeps his foot on home plate. Biagini has the play right in front of him, and he's able to get to that baseball, make a quick throw to Tolley to force McCann at home.
Good job by Tolley there on the stretch. So now the bases remain loaded after the fielder's choice. 2 outs in the inning. And here's Chase Headley, who has spent the night batting right-handed against Dickey. Now turns around to bat for the left side against Biagini. Upstairs with a curveball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
He hasn't been able to get that curveball down where it's most effective. He hung a curveball to McCann to start the inning, and he hammered it into right. I don't mind coming right back with it after you throw a bad one because it's fresh in the pitcher's mind. He can make the adjustment on the next pitch.
Swing and a miss at a fastball at 96, 1-2.
Gibbons and Pete Walker talking about their options as they look at that Yankee lineup up on this scoreboard.
Check swing on the appeal. He did not go. And remember, just 3 umpires in this game. And I don't think he went, but that's Tripp Gibson, who normally would be down the third baseline, but he's out in the middle of the infield right now because Hunter Wendelstedt, who started the game as the home plate umpire, took a foul ball off the mask and moments later was taken out of the game. Pete Walker saying ask. It did not look like Headley went. It looked like the right call, but just a different vantage point for the umpire because they're down 1 here in this game. 2-2 now. Fouled off.
Well, and that's one of the aspects the umpires talked about when they huddled up at the resumption of play after Hunter Wendelstedt was out of the game. Who's got the check swing calls on various batters, lefty, righty? Jerry Lane there is the crew chief. The veteran umpire is at first base. Well, they have to rotate around now because they're an umpire short.
Again, the 2-2. Upstairs, Headley would chase the high fastball. Count is full. Now everybody will be on the move, and that's what Tolley's telling everybody. They'll all be moving on the pitch. Big moment here in this one. And the inning is over. Called strike 3, I believe, the way that Scott Barry signaled. Headley is saying what? And it was called at the plate. As far as I'm aware, called strike 3 by Scott Barry to end the inning. Headley thought he had drawn the walk. trying to get some clarification, but the Yankees leave the bases loaded. They have stranded 10 men through 6 innings as Biagini gets out of it, and it's still 1-0. Nothing. Their Yankees lead at the end of 6 as they're dancing to YMCA here in New York. Chad Green had him dancing at times. What a night for him in just his 5th start of the season. Stymies the Blue Jays on 2 hits over 6 innings. Strikes out 11. Just the 2nd time this year a Yankee starter has struck out double figures in a game. Michael Pineda struck out 12 Texas Rangers on June 30th. And now Joe Girardi goes to the pen for the veteran Tyler Clippard.
Tyler Clippard, originally drafted by the Yankees back in 2003. He pitched 1 season, that was 2007. Then he went to Washington. Spent most of his career with the Nationals, 7 seasons with the Nationals. Has pitched with the Mets and Arizona. Also spent some time in Oakland.
Blue Jays probably glad to see Green out of the game. Edwin Encarnacion leads off the 7th. By the way, we had a meeting between innings, and we've decided we think it was a swinging strike, not a called strike. Either way, it's a strikeout, as Headley struck out one way or the other to win. Biagini somehow got out of it. Right on the outside corner, 0-2 on Encarnacion.
There were 4 or 5 people on the playing field that didn't know whether it was a called strike or a swinging strike, including Chase Headley.
No, thank you. That makes me feel a little bit better.
You were fine. Goalie wasn't sure. Second base umpire wasn't sure. Biagini wasn't sure.
Was it an appeal? Was it a called strike? A swinging strike? Big swing and a miss. No doubt on that one. Encarnacion strikes out.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Top 7 here in the Bronx. 1-0 Yankees. Blue Jays have now struck out 12 times in this game. It's been a problem that has afflicted them a lot recently. There's a strike to Michael Saunders, who has struck out of both of his at-bats tonight. When they're on, they can do a lot of damage. You know, John Gibbons is very open about it. He says the way the offense works is you get a couple of guys on and you hope you pop one. But it doesn't always work that way. And tonight has been one of those nights. A lot of swinging and missing for the Blue Jays tonight.
Well, they popped 3 yesterday and scored 9 runs on 12 hits as they had a couple of back-to-back home runs to Tulowitzki and Martin, and then Edwin Encarnacion hit a solo shot in the 7th.
Saunders with a fly ball, pretty well hit to left field. Hicks is back and has room on the track. 2 down.
Sanders has done a good job of going the other way, and he stayed on that one pretty good. Hicks is a center fielder by background. He's playing in left field in a big spacious ballpark. He made an easy play of it.
So 2 down in the inning, and now here's Tulowitzki as one of the 2 Blue Jays hits tonight. Had a single back in the 5th inning. The Blue Jays come into play tonight, as on the appeal Tulowitzki went around, having struck out the 4th most often of any team in the American League. Only Houston, Tampa Bay, and Minnesota have struck out more, and the Twins had only struck out 4 more times than the Blue Jays. Twins aren't playing tonight. Blue Jays have struck out 12 times already. Now there are those who believe, especially recently, and Houston has talked about this. They said, you know, strikeouts are by and large just another out. You can still be a very good offensive team even if you strike out a lot. Some people believe that. Some people don't to a certain extent. Nothing good happens when you don't put the ball on.
Nothing good happens, and you don't even give the other team a chance to make an error.
Yeah. Tulowitzki pops it up. Castro there. And that's a 1-2-3-7. Nice job by Clippard. 7th inning stretch of the Bronx. Yankees up 1-0.
Your Toronto Blue Jays new 2016 authentic jersey with 40th season sleeve patch available now. You can get yours today at jshop.ca. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll get you back now to Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez.
Barry, thank you. And as some Blue Jays fans look on here in the Bronx, left-hander Brett Cecil is into the game. A guy John Gibbons feels is really starting to round into form.
Yeah, he's really throwing the ball well, and Cecil's got that curveball working. It neutralizes both lefties and righties, and it's an important pitch for him. He pitched 3 of the 6 games in Toronto, come out of the bullpen 2 2/3. He did not allow a hit, walked 1 and struck out 4 over the course of those 3 outings, and he is on now 1-6 for the season, but he's throwing much better than those numbers suggest. He had a shoulder problem early in the season, wasn't healthy, and the curveball was a non-factor early on.
So Dickey goes the first 5. Biagini gives up 2 hits and a walk, but no runs in the 6th. And now Cecil comes on in the bottom of the 7th with the Yankees leading 1-0. Gregorius, Teixeira, and Castro, 3, 4, 5 in the Yankee lineup coming up this inning. Gregorius tonight is 0 for 3, a strikeout, a line out, and a fly ball. Gets it sharply down to first. Nice play by Smoke for the out.
Smoke can really play first base. That ball had a shot to get past him and go down into the corner in right field, but he backhanded and made an easy play of it. Once he had a glove on it, it was academic. That Gregorius would be retired.
So 1 pitch, 1 out, and now Mark Teixeira. 0 for 3.
Boy, these two have faced each other a lot. Teixeira 7 for 26 against Brett Cecil. Of course, that factors in that Cecil was a starter early in his career. The changeup sailed all the way across the plate.
Ryan Tepera is up in the pen. So we're being denied a Tepera-Teixeira matchup here tonight as Cecil stays in, putting Teixeira on the right side. Fastball runs down and in, ball 3. Boy, Ryan Tepera's got some miles on him this year between Toronto and Buffalo, back and forth.
Yeah, he sure has, and that's what happens when you have options, and they can send you up and down according to the workload on the bullpen.
4-pitch walk. Meanwhile, on the Yankees side of things, Adam Warren is up in the pen. Was a Yankee, was traded to the Cubs, reacquired by the Yankees, and seems to be the place where he's meant to be. He's pitched much better as a Yankee than he did as a Cub. And with the trades of Chapman and Miller, he's taken on a pretty important role in the bullpen.
Yeah, he's allowed just 4 hits over 10 innings since rejoining the Yankees, and this looked like he was going to be a real good relief pitcher while he was pitching for New York, but things didn't work out for him in Chicago.
Starlin Castro. Ground ball left side. Donaldson to second, 1 on to first. Not in time. Close but no, as Castro safely across on a fielder's choice.
Yeah, the ball wasn't that sharply hit, and Donaldson had to run far to his left to glove it. It took him an extra step to unload it, and by that time it was too late to first. Travis made a good pivot, but Castro legged it out.
So 2 down as you get another look.
Hit toward the end of the bat. You could see how far Donaldson had to go into his left, and by the time he gets it to Devin Travis and Travis makes the throw to first, it's too late to get Castro.
It's a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Devin has really learned how to turn a double play. He's got a strong arm, and he has utilized 2 or 3 different ways of turning that double play, so he can handle just about any kind of throw he gets.
Cecil with a curveball in for a strike to Brian McCann, who has walked twice and had a base hit tonight. Tepera ready if the inning continues. Some right-handed bats coming up after McCann, but this is the reason why Cecil's still in, is to get this lefty-lefty matchup here. And it'll stagger Travis, but the inning is over. Tricky play out in shallow right. A 1-out walk and nothing more at the end of 7 in the Bronx. It's still the Yankees 1 and the Blue Jays nothing.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. A lot has changed in 40 years, but one thing hasn't. Honda, proud fan since 1977. Official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Welcome back to New York City. Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez. Top of the 8th inning between the Yankees and Blue Jays. A 1-0 lead for the Yankees, and right-hander Adam Warren, who was traded from the Yankees to the Cubs for Starlin Castro, struggled with the Cubs, wound up in the minors, reacquired as part of the Aroldis Chapman deal. Now back with the Yankees, and he has started pitching well ever since he got back to the Bronx.
Well, he last faced the Blue Jays last September 21st in Toronto as a starter. And that didn't go so well. He was matched up against David Price. He gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the first. So he didn't have fond memories of facing the Blue Jays. And the Jays need to get something going here in the 8th.
Daryl Siciliani is going to lead it off. Siciliani struck out in the second, had a double in the 5th inning. The 5th inning is the only inning in which the Blue Jays have had any base runners. Troy Tulowitzki with a 1-out single. Siciliani doubled him to third, but then Smoke and Upton struck out to end the threat. Other than that, 6 3-up, 3-down innings tonight.
Just couldn't get anything going against Chad Green, and he was terrific. No walks, 11 strikeouts, as Dan mentioned.
After Siciliani, Smoke and Upton, 6, 7, 8. Barney, Lake, and Martin make up the bench tonight. Fastball misses inside. $36,015 the announced attendance tonight. The Yankees are averaging 39,000 per game this year. That is second in the American League in attendance per game. Number 1, the Toronto Blue Jays, 40,895. The Blue Jays are over $2.5 million already. Will go over $3 million for the season. Only the Dodgers, Cardinals, and Giants draw more than the Blue Jays. Blue Jays number 1 in the American League.
Yeah, the Blue Jays just played 6 games at Rogers Center and had crowds of over 43,000 for each of those 6 games. They've had 28 sellouts this season.
I bet you if you could somehow count fans of yours who see your games on the road, if you could somehow tally that, Blue Jays would be up there amongst the leaders. I think the Cubs and Red Sox would probably be up near the top as well, but Blue Jays would be right there. Chopper to first, and a routine play for Mark Teixeira.
Now the Blue Jays are drawing well on the road, also 29,900 on the road. So they're right up there, top of the league in that regard as well. Boston draws the best on the road. They're up over 34,000 in road attendance.
One down in the 8th inning, and the batter is Justin Smoke. Smoke's had a tough night. 2 at-bats, 2 strikeouts. Shift is on. 3 on the right side. Castro well out onto the outfield grass and right. Headley has come over to the right side of the infield. Gregorio is still on the left side. Kind of a weird situation in limbo. It feels like the Yankees are in. If you're a Yankees fan, are you thinking about next year and the year beyond and the young players, or are you saying to yourself, you know what, a 4 or 5 game winning streak and they're right back in this thing?
I think that's the way Joe Girardi's looking at it himself, and the coaches and players, they believe the same thing. And you know, when you get an influx of youth late in the season, Joe Girardi knows that's going to energize his clubhouse. Just seeing these young kids coming out here. And tonight it's Aaron Judge who's driven in the only run of the game in a 1-0 game. 24-year-old playing in just his third big league game.
0-2 again, down and in case Warren gets in any trouble. Well, there's a sign Joe Girardi's thinking about wins, and this year he's got his closer up in the 8th inning.
Yeah, and Betances has been able to pitch multiple innings, and he has been the closer since the trade of Miller and Chapman. And Joe told me earlier today, he said, you know, we haven't had too many situations where we sat in the dugout thinking, man, I wish I had Chapman or Miller. He said, our bullpen has done an okay job.
Meanwhile, in the Blue Jays pen, Ryan Tepera has been joined by Joaquin Benoit.
Yeah, the reason there are two right-handers up, if somebody runs into one and ties it up, you can bet Benoit's going to come into the game and pitch in a tie game. If they don't score, Tepera more than likely will pitch. And if you're wondering how pitchers handle that, they're told. Dane Johnson, the bullpen coach, will say, hey, Joaquin, if we tie it up, you're in the game. Ryan, if we don't tie it up, you're in the game. So they know what the situation is. It's not like they're trying to have a pitch off down there or anything. They know.
I wonder if that means Grilly's unavailable. If it's Benoit already in the 8th inning instead of Grilly, Grilly's pitched each of the last 2 days. That might mean he's out of commission tonight.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to pitch him 3 days in a row. And Grilly pitched 4 games on the homestand, a total of 4 innings. He allowed just 1 hit and struck out 5. He's been great. But I don't think they can use him 3 days in a row. They probably lose him for 3 or 4 days to get him back in good shape after that. Smokey's putting up a battle here. He spoiled some pretty good pitches from Warren.
8th inning, Yankees 1, Blue Jays nothing. Hit 6-2 in favor of the Yankees. We're back with you again tomorrow night. The second game of the series is Marco Estrada takes his .295 ERA to the mound against Michael Pineda, and then a quick turnaround to a day game on Wednesday. Jay Happ goes in search of his 17th win of the season. CC Sabathia will be on the mound for the Yankees on Wednesday afternoon. Swing and a miss, and Smoke strikes out for the 3rd time.
"13 strikeouts by the Blue Jay hitters tonight against the Yankees, and this is a tough pitch after a bunch of breaking balls and off-speed pitches. They elevate this fastball right in on the hands, and you can see how it ties up Smoke. He tries to draw his hands in to make contact, but he swings right through it.
Now Melvin Upton. Upton with a fly ball and a strikeout tonight. Down the right field line, but a foul, the ball and a strike. R.A. Dickey, 5 innings, allowed 1 run, 4 hits, 4 walks, but stranded a lot of runners. Marcus Stroman coming off a very nice outing yesterday. Was most pleased about not walking anybody. Struck out 8 and really had the ball down.
And the previous start to that, also against the Astros, he had a career high 13 strikeouts.
Ground ball right at the shortstop, Gregorius, and that's all for the Blue Jays here in the 8th. 1-0 Yankees going bottom 8. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here are Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker in the Samsung Broadcast Studio.
Olympic Games coverage continues tomorrow morning, bright and early. Get up at 8:50 a.m. Eastern, 5:50 Pacific on Sportsnet. And guys, a great bronze medal last night on the track. Canada finally has a medal from one of our male athletes.
Exciting race. Andre DeGrasse picking up the bronze on the 100 meters with a personal best of 9.91. Here's Ryan Tepera, his 6th stint with the Blue Jays this year. He comes on, Buck, to work the bottom of the 8th inning.
He has thrown the ball well, and Ryan's using that fastball very effectively. It's interesting, left-handers have hit just 100 against Tepera. He got that hard-breaking ball, and he's been very effective against them here, just trying to keep it a one-run game. 1-0 New York.
Gary Sanchez will lead off the inning for the Yankees. And takes the fastball just down and away for ball 1. Now the Blue Jays have an uphill climb heading to the 9th inning. In all likelihood, we'll see Dellin Betances down at least a run. Leadoff base hit here in the inning for Sanchez. Drive of the game is brought to you by Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Proud fan since 1977.
Well, the only run of the ball game was produced by big Aaron Judge with this swing. He's got a runner at second base, and he takes a high knuckleball the opposite way. Hits it to the wall in right center. That would drive home Brian McCann with the only run of this ball game, and Aaron Judge has an extra base hits in 3 consecutive games to start his major league career. Homer, and now a double.
Ground ball will sneak through between third and short. Don't know if Donaldson would have had a play. He stumbled as he started to his left. It'll go as a base hit for Judge.
Yeah, he sure did stumble. He lost his footing, and he never could get good traction to make a play on that ball. It looked like he had a shot at it initially when it was hit. It wasn't hit that hard. Donaldson was trying to go to his left, and you could see him stumble and fall down. Had no chance at all after that happened, but he never really got good footing and falls to the ground as that ball sneaks through the left side. Second hit of the night for Aaron Judge.
And now the Blue Jays expecting potentially a bunt from Hicks. And he'll oblige. Tepera to third, and they got him. Bang, bang play at third. Good play by Tepera to force the lead runner.
What a play by Donaldson to take the short hop throw and stand on the bag at the same time. Tepera's very athletic. He got off the mound quickly, but he had a long way to go. Watch how far he has to go to get to this ball, and then his momentum spins him around. And look at Donaldson backhands that ball while stepping on the bag just ahead of the runner sliding in. It looked like that ball bounced, and he was able to catch it with a backhanded grab. The Yankees were going to look at the review, but they took one look at it and said no chance. Donaldson and Tepera teaming up to make a heck of a play.
So the fielder's choice leaves runners at first and second with a 1 out, and back to the top of the order for Jacoby Ellsbury, 1 for 4. The Yankees are now 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position tonight. The Blue Jays are 0 for 2. All night long, it has felt like the Yankees are one clutch hit away from putting the Blue Jays out for the rest of the night, and they haven't been able to do it.
The Yankee pitchers have had 2 long stretches of consecutive batters retired. Chad Green retired 13 in a row to start the game, and now the bullpen and Green have combined to retire 11 Blue Jay hitters in a row. The only 2 base runners that have reached tonight, back-to-back hits by Tulowitzki and Siciliani in the 5th, and that's been it.
Tepera trying to keep it at just a 1-run deficit. Foul to back, 1-2. Looking ahead to the top of the 9th inning, scheduled are Josh Thole, Devin Travis, and Josh Donaldson. And again, the Blue Jay bench tonight is made up of Darwin Barney, Junior Lake, and Russell Martin. So you could certainly envision a scenario in which John Gibbons would send Martin up to hit for Thole. Although it is going to be Dylan Betances coming in, and he's a nightmare for right-handed batters. And he's no day at the beach for left-handed batters.
No, he has really become one of the better late-inning relief pitchers.
Good pitch, good sequence there by Tepera. He strikes out Ellsbury.
Remember, we mentioned Tepera has allowed just a 100 batting average to left-handed hitters, and he gets a good one in Jacoby Ellsbury. He's got that slider that's got a lot of depth on it, and you can see he throws it down and in, and Ellsbury swings right over the top of it. Big strikeout for Tepera, and he's an out away from getting out of this inning.
The batter, Chase Headley. Headley 1 for 3, walked in the first, had a double in the 5th, was stranded there, struck out his other 2 times up. Red Sox won today, beat the Indians 3-2 this afternoon. The Orioles are not playing today or tonight. Texas has rallied. They now lead Oakland 5-2, bottom of the 5th in Arlington. The Royals lead the Tigers 2-1 at the bottom of the 8th in Detroit. Tigers a big factor in the race.
Tigers have really played well since the All-Star break. 17-11 going into the game tonight. They and the Mariners both with 17 wins after the All-Star break.
Justin Verlander's really pitching well.
Yes, he is. He's like the old Justin Verlander. He's pitched very well. He was the pitcher of the month in July in the American League.
Michael Fulmer might win Rookie of the Year this year. Had a shutout yesterday against the Rangers. 1-2 the count on Headley.
It's interesting, the Blue Jays 16-11 since the All-Star break, and the strength of that record is based on pitching and defense. A team that we thought would pound the baseball, but they have played real good defense, and once again a nice defensive play in this inning, helping out Ryan Tepera. He made it himself.
Count now full. That'll give the runners a head start. Judge from second and Hicks from first. Headley grows impatient. There go the runners. 3-2, fouled back.
Tolley's going to go out to the mound and have a chat with Ryan Tepera after assessing that last swing by Chase Headley. Dylan Betances is ready for the top of the 9th.
Headley settles back in. Tepera looking into Thole for the side. Runners edge off their bases. There they go. 3-2 again. High ball 4. And the bases are loaded. Boy, have the Blue Jays pitchers been playing with fire all night long.
Well, the Yankees, they just haven't been able to come up with a big hit. And it's a 1-0 game. Yankees are 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position.
8 hits, 7 walks, 1 run.
It's Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach, talking to Joe Girardi.
The batter, D.D. Gregorius, the Yankees' number 3 hitter tonight. He's 0 for 4. Hitting .285 on the season. laces it foul into the seats. And he was all over that. Dickey went 5, gave up a run. Biagini loaded the bases in the 6th, got out of it. Brett Cecil gave up a walk, nothing more in the 7th, and now Tepera pitching with the bases loaded in the 8th. A little bit high. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. In that good cutter or slider, whatever you want to call it. That's the pitch that serves him so well against lefties.
Yeah, he got Ellsbury on that same pitch, and he was able to start it on the plate. It's a strike to ball breaking ball, and Gregorius saw it out of the hand, thought it was a pretty good pitch to hit, and when he went after it, it was down and in.
The 1-2. Hit hard, but a foul again. That's the just 2 or 3 inches more on the plate or off the plate. The difference between a swing and a miss and a long, loud foul ball down the line. 2 or 3 more inches to the middle of the plate, it's not foul.
He is geared up for something hard here.
A lot on the line in this battle here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 1-0 Yankees, bases loaded, 2 down. And Tepera steps off. Yankees have already left 11 men on in this game.
A pen?
And a step off now by Tepera. He's not sure what he wants to throw right now, or he can't convince Josh Tolley to put down the sign of what he wants to throw right now.
Yeah, and you certainly want to get your heads together before you throw this next pitch without having a real good idea of how committed you are to throwing it. Better get on the same page. Now they got to talk about it. Yeah, the last thing you want to do as a pitcher is throw a pitch that you're really not committed to. I don't care what pitch it is, as long as you have some doubts about it, you're not going to throw it well. So get some validation from your catcher. I'm thinking about this. Well, what do you think? Okay, I agree with that. Just make a good pitch.
They've come to an agreement. Line to right field and caught by Saunders as the Yankees leave 3 more men on. They've stranded 14 men through 8. The Blue Jays have one last shot at it, but they'll have to face Dellin Betances going to the 9th. baseball out of the bullpen. Big right, and I mean big right-hander. 6'8", 265. Dellin Betances leads all major league relievers in strikeouts with 102, and he has struck out 102 in 56 1/3 innings. Miller is gone. Chapman is gone. Betances has moved from the 7th to the 8th, now to the 9th inning in the absence of those two other guys. And this is not going to be easy for the Blue Jays against one of the nastiest guys around.
It wasn't easy against Tyler Clippard or Adam Warren as well. Clippard pitched the 7th, Warren pitched the 8th, and both those relievers each retired the side in order with the strikeout. Now Dellin Betances is up. 57th appearance. He's got a good, lively fastball and a deadly slider. His slider is filthy.
Which is one of the reasons we mentioned why right-handed batters struggle against him so much. They're hitting just 155 against him. Lefties are hitting 237. Maybe the reason that Josh Thole is still in. Russell Martin not pinch hitting for Thole. So it'll be Thole, Travis, and Donaldson if anybody reaches, and Encarnacion.
Betances actually calls his breaking ball a curveball, but it's hard. And there it is.
He can call it whatever he wants.
Yeah. Whatever it is, you have to put a "sir" in front of it.
Yeah. Thole has faced Betances once, and he struck out in that at bat. The Blue Jays with just 2 hits tonight, both coming in the 5th inning. That's the only inning in which they even had any base runners in this game. The Yankees have had 15 base runners, the Blue Jays 2, but it's a 1-0 game here in the 9th inning. Encarnacion hoping he gets an opportunity. He's due up 4th. Two. Good take there on the breaking ball low, and it's a full count now on Thole.
This is another situation where the Blue Jays would like to have an extra player on the bench, somebody that could pinch run should Thole reach in a 1-0 game. John Gibbons has just 3 players on the bench. Thole draws the leadoff walk. Interesting that he threw a curveball.
Now for a preview of what's coming up on Sportsnet Central, here are Ken and Ivanka. We barely talked A-Rod tonight. There's always something to say about A-Rod. Junior Lake is on to pinch run. Devin Travis has faced Betances once and he walked. 0 for 3 tonight. Slider just misses outside, ball 1.
In case you're thinking about a stolen base for the Blue Jays here, Gary Sanchez has thrown out 3 of 5 base stealers trying to run against him. He's got a cannon for an arm and a quick release.
Ball 2. Betances was ahead of Thole, 0-2, walked him, and now he's fallen to behind 2-0 on Travis. Now it's 2-0, not 3-0, but would you give Travis the take till he sees a strike?
I'd let him hit. He's swinging the bat so well right now. Just if he gets a good pitch to hit, let him swing.
Fastball in there, 2-1.
Obviously, this is the part of the lineup that does most of the damage for the Blue Jays. Travis, Donaldson next, and hopefully the Blue Jays will get to Encarnacion. There goes Lake. Ball is popped up.
And Teixeira into foul territory, has room up against the seats. And Lake has to get it back to first.
Blue Jays don't play hit and run very often, but with Devin Travis at the plate, the way he's swinging the bat, I think they took a shot in this 1-0 game. Started Lake, and Teixeira stays with it, makes the catch right up against the wall.
So that's the first out of the inning, and now here's Josh Donaldson. Donaldson's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. And in his career against Betances, 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts, has also walked twice. There's one Blue Jay who's had a lot of success against Dellin Betances. Unfortunately, he's rehabbing a knee injury in Florida right now. Jose Bautista 4 for 9 with 2 doubles and a homer against him. In the dirt, good block there by Sanchez.
Sanchez has really improved his catching skills, and Joe Girardi, of course, understands what catchers should do, and he really likes the way that Sanchez has improved in blocking pitches. That was a tough one because it hit so far out in front of the catcher, but he went to both knees and just covered up the 5-hole. Sanchez has thrown out 2 base runners on blocked balls where they try to advance, but he is so quick and has such a strong arm. He gets on those balls to get away from him and makes good throws.
And Betances falls behind another hitter 2-0.
Betances is 4 for 7 in save opportunities since taking over in the 9th inning.
Goes to the slider at 2-0, and he drops it in there for a strike. Now the Blue Jays had the runner going at 2-1 with Travis up there. Will they have the runner going at 2-1 with Donaldson up there? They don't. It's low ball 3.
It's interesting that Betances threw a 3-2 breaking ball to Tolley and walked him. You would think he might throw a breaking ball 3-1 to Donaldson, just because Josh has so much power.
Base hit into left center. Lake around second, digging for third, and will be in there without a throw. It was a breaking ball, and Donaldson lines it into left center for a base hit, and the tying run is at third base.
Josh is one of the best at analyzing what a pitcher might do to him in a given situation. 3-1, it's naturally a fastball count, but Donaldson's looking for the breaking ball and gets it. Hits it past Gregorius into center field. Junior Lake, the pinch runner, reads it perfectly. Ellsbury's got to run a long ways to his left, so Junior can go first to third easily, and the tying run just 90 feet away for a double lead.
Encarnacion 0 for 3 tonight. 3 for 13 in his career against Betances, including a double. Down to third, stopped by Headley to second one, to first, double play, and the Yankees win it. The Blue Jays had the right guy at the plate. He hit the ball hard, but he hit it right at Headley, the third baseman. And despite stranding all those runners and missing out on all those opportunities tonight, the Yankees hang on for the win.
Well, the Blue Jays got the guy at the plate they wanted. Edwin Encarnacion, the best RBI man in the big leagues, but he hits a one-hopper right to Headley. He goes to second. Castro turns the double play. Betances picks up the save. Another big day for the rookie Aaron Judge. He drives in the only run of the game with his first big league double.
So the final here in the Bronx, the Yankees won and the Blue Jays nothing in the opening game of this 3-game series. Time now for Sportsnet Central. Let's send you back to the studio. Here are Kennedy Baca.